Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. I'm your host, Tony Demakis with Alliance Specialties and Laser Sales. And I think by now you probably know everything that we do here, but we'll run through it real quick. Polishing, laser welding, laser engraving, hot runner manifold repair, PMs for your mold tools. We do some mold repair as well. And then we also build and sell the only laser welding and engraving machines made completely in the United States. We do that to make sure that we can control the parts, the inventory, everything else, and we can deliver the highest possible quality. We are the mold makers that don't build molds. We leave that to you guys. That's not something that we want to do, but we want to help you in all your processes and all the things that you need. And if there's projects that you don't know how to get done, we've also developed quite a bit of a network of people. So whether you are too busy to take on new projects and you're looking for somebody, give us a call. We know tool shops that are looking for work right now, believe it or not, and we would be happy to point them your way. If you're looking for parts molded, we can help you with that. If you're looking for machines to be made, we can help you with that. We've kind of found ourselves in this little niche of being relationship builders, and part of that is doing this show and reaching out to you guys and finding out what you need and what's going on and who needs what. So another way that you can do that is to go to the PT Expo. So here's some notes. PT Expo is Vanessa made me some notes so I can actually get it right. PT Expo is March 29th through the 31st at the Donald E. Stevenson Convention Center. It is basically a Maramold on steroids. They are going to have plastic processors there. They're going to have 3D printing. They're going to have mold makers. They're going to have blow molding, thermoforming, all of those goodies there in one space. So come out to PT Expo. I've talked to quite a few people that are going to be there, and that's all good news. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on. We're going to have some live shows. We're going to announce the SPE Mold Technologies Division Mold Maker of the Year and the Mold Designer of the Year while we're at the show. And we're going to have conversations with the team at Universal Robots because we've got something really awesome to bring to market during that show. So those are some exciting things for us at PT Expo. If you're listening to the show, don't just listen, participate. So drop a comment in the comments section, whether that is on Facebook, whether that's on YouTube, whether that's on LinkedIn, and we will get all the comments. Vanessa is watching patiently for your comments. So whatever you put on there, she's going to let me know, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about at the given time. So I'm not going to interrupt our guest if you type something in. So just sit tight, be patient, and we will get to it. But we want this to be a conversation and a flow between the people watching and the people on the recording. So please put your comments in the chat. And I think that's pretty much all the housekeeping notes. Yeah. All right. So let's get on to things. Our guest today is somebody that I've known for quite a while. We've done work together in different capacities, and he's got a lot to say about culture and different things like that. So I think that's a big topic of discussion that's continuing to grow and capture a lot of attention. How do you keep people engaged at work? How do you keep a good team going? And what does that look like? So our guest today is Ty Patritto, and I'm going to bring him in right now. Good morning, my friend.
How's it going, Tony?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic.
That's very believable.
Well, business is good. We're busy as it can be, so can't complain there. How about you guys?
We're busy. It's one of those things, our industry seems to always be peaks and valleys, right? We get too busy and then we stop looking for work, and then we hit a small lull, and then we go hunting again and we get more work, and it's just it's riding that wave of inconsistency because unfortunately, we can't necessarily plan in advance because we're the triage department. We're not scheduling things out in advance, so it's difficult for us to navigate that. How about you guys?
Yeah, we're pretty much booked up for the year. Not completely, but we're we're working towards kind of getting a schedule laid out, trying to fit some people in. There's a bunch of new plant builds coming up. I heard you in the introduction mention that you have some mold shops that are looking for work. Do they
I
want to
do.
sub their people out?
Well, I don't know that they
They
want to
want to come
sub people
fabricate?
out. Yeah, I don't know if they want to sub people out, but they're looking for some projects. There's
Yeah,
not a lot of them that I know of, but there's quite a few.
yeah. I mean, the whole industry on the food and beverage side for making the equipment has been extremely busy in the last 2 years, really, since COVID. And
Yeah,
at first, it was a little bit hit or miss or what was going to happen, but unfortunately, for the sake of conversation, it actually worked out pretty good in our favor. Everybody had to go automated, which helped us on our automation end. More clean in place solutions, meaning they don't have to have people washing it by hand. So we build them the equipment and the tanks to supply that cleaning agent out into the middle of a plant somewhere.
right.
So as far as you're saying, the peaks and valleys right now, we've been in a 2-year peak where it's just nonstop. You know, I had the conversation last week that someone told me they have a very big pocketbook, but no time. So name your price. And I'm like, I can't tell you that it can be 12 weeks because it'll be 40 weeks probably. So, the hunting part is hard too because I'm naturally just always trying to do more business development and get
Right.
out there and meet new people. And I come back and go, oh, I got this order, and then I'm getting strangled in the background for taking on more than we can chew. But
Right,
that's
right.
part of growing.
Because you get people that are really bogged down in their job, and they're like, dude, we don't have any time. Stop selling. Stop telling people we can do this. And you're like, well, wait a minute. I can't stop because, well, that's my job. And
Right.
two, eventually we're going to finish those orders and we're going to need to fill the pipeline with more stuff.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of my job that I kind of set for the direction of the company for 2022 was finding work for 23.
Yeah.
Because going into 22, we already knew we had, call it 75% capacity booked. We carry a line of pumps and valves called Alpha Laval that we're trying to shift a lot of sales into that, where it's just buying and selling it and not having to actually manufacture anything. So one of the issues with that, though, is obviously the lead time because things are coming from Denmark or Virginia or even Racine close to you guys. So we're trying to get everything in and flip it while we're supplementing the actual equipment build. It's a challenge,
Yeah.
But you don't find people very often that are okay with waiting a year. But when you find them, you got to hold on to them.
Well, because that's the thing, right? People, especially now, they go shopping when they need something. Like, I need this now. I have the money. I need this now. Who's going to give it to me?
Right.
How do you do that? We jumped right in. People don't even know who you are yet. You have to tell people who you are. And so I'm gonna give you the center stage, and you can go into high school, you can go into grade school, you can go into kindergarten if you want. I mean, you can start at the beginning, you can start wherever you want, and just give people a little bit of background and who you are and who the company is.
Yeah, for sure. I probably won't go back to the diaper era, but that's nobody wants to hear that. So I grew up in Hurley, Wisconsin. Very small town, 1,800 people, I think it is, something like that. Both my parents were teachers. I went through high school and I ended up kind of falling in love with manufacturing and building things with my hands. I had some very good influences in my life. My uncles were very hands-on, always teaching me stuff at the camp, doing whatever. Family-wise, great family. When I got into high school, I started doing the welding classes, did some school work at a welding shop where I got to meet some great people and, really kind of sharpen my skills there. And then I got talked into going into teaching somewhere along the lines. Not sure where that happened, Dad. So I went to University of Eau Claire, tried the pipe dream of football. That didn't work out. So then semester kind of went bad. I called my dad one day and I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to transfer to the tech school and go into welding. And his response was, so you didn't do so well in the teaching thing. I was like, yeah, not very well. He's like, all right, well, if that's what you want to do, then go for it. So I transferred out, went to tech school, learned how to weld, fabricate, whatever else I could learn at the time. Got right into the industry, started doing fabricating at a company in Oshkosh doing structural steel. Learned a lot there. really quickly just picked up on a lot of things, plasma tables, welding, grinding, basically building whatever they had. And then I transitioned into the food and beverage world because I wanted to get out of the carbon steel environment that's kind of bad on your body. So I went into the stainless world where I'm at now, and we do cheese plants, food and beverage. So like your sodas you drink, your milk, cheese, all kinds of byproducts of that. Your processed cheese like Kraft Singles, stuff like that. That you know, it's a common household name. And then I actually did a stint up in Wakefield, Michigan at Extreme Tool and Engineering for Mike Zacharias when he owned the company, where I was actually running an ID1 welder. And that thing was a tank.
Yeah.
It was fun. You go from TIG welding with, filler rod and a torch, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we want you to run this welding department. And I was like, yeah, sure. So I get up there and I look at this laser welder and I'm like, okay, how do I run this thing? Looks like a robot.
You're like, that's not welding.
Yeah, I was like, how does this thing even work? I don't see a flame or nothing. And then all of a sudden there's this, a microscope that you're looking through, and it was cool. I got to learn a lot of great things. I met a lot of great people. And the plastics industry as a whole is just a fantastic community.
Yeah.
So
I miss Mikey. I don't get to see him enough. I don't get to see Zacharias enough. I see him occasionally, but it's not enough. I'm greedy.
I text him every few months just to see how he's doing. He's always, I've known him for, oh God, I think I met him when I was probably like 7, 8 years old, when his daughters were very little, and we were at his house. I was with one of my buddies and we were jumping in his pond, and that's why I'm back in diapers. I said I wouldn't go there.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I got you to do it.
You did. So yeah, throughout high school, Mike was always, whenever I saw him at his house or if we were in public after a game, he was always like, hey, when do you come work for me? I was like, we'll see, Mike. Never know. And he won at the end of the day. I ended up there.
He's just one of those awesome, genuine guys. The first I heard, Mike Zacharias is everybody talks about him. He had this stigma about how awesome of a leader he was in the industry. And everybody from Ray Coombs down would be like, oh, you got to meet Mike. You got to meet Mike. And I finally was able to reach out to him. And the first time I met him, we actually did a podcast together in my hotel room for the AMBA conference. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome. We just sat and talked. I think it was like an hour and a half or 2 hours that we just sat and talked about stuff. And most of the time, to probably maybe the disappointment of people that were listening, I don't know, we didn't really talk about work. We talked more about, life and things that he thought were actually important. And it was a great conversation. He's an awesome person to learn just overall life skills for. Just good mentor, good overall dude.
Yeah, the one thing that whenever people, when I find this connection that, oh, Mike as well, the one thing I always go back to that Mike taught me most is work ethic.
Yeah.
And I always will remember this. I'd get to work at 5:30 in the morning on a Tuesday, whatever it was. We were super busy. I'm trying to get after it, I pull up in the parking lot and there's Mike's truck. I'm like, God, that guy's getting after it. And I'd leave at 5 o'clock at night thinking, I really worked a long day. And he's still there.
Right.
So it got to the point where I took it as a challenge. I'm like, all right. So one day I got there at, I think, 4:30 in the morning, and he pulled in right behind me. I'm like, all right, well, let's see what happens here. Let's go. So we were slammed. I was running the wires, and all of a sudden it was like 6:30 at night. I'm like, all right, time to leave. So I left. His truck was still there. So he is one dude that he works his ass off, and I will give him that credit. And that's one thing he taught me, how to work hard. So
yeah, and he turned Extreme into something awesome. He had a vision for it, and he did everything he wanted to do with it. And now it's part of the Westfall team, and they do a great job still. It's a good thing. It's a great legacy that Mike has put out there for people to be able to follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did a great job. And one of the things I really learned when I was there was how to manage multiple things at once.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest, I'm going to touch on what you said. One of the biggest opportunities I got there was meeting Ray.
Yes.
That wild man.
So Ray Coombs from Westminster Tool, lead time leader of 2021. They won like 18 awards last year. It just seemed like anytime there was something up for nomination, Westminster won, and for good reason. I mean, they're a great company, great company, and easily one of the leaders when it comes to culture and just figuring out how to do it, how to hire people, how to bring people in. They're so good.
Yeah, I mean, he's what really got me on this whole cultural / emotional intelligence journey that I've been on for the last half a decade or so now.
Yeah.
You know, that opened up my mind to so many other things that I really even never thought about until I met Ray and that whole team. You know, it starts at the top and goes all the way down to the last person in that company. You know, I've been out there twice, 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah.
Anybody you talk to is great. You know, the one time we went out there, Hillary took us out. We went to dinner and got to meet with everybody. The whole team is just fantastic. And, you know, Ray and I did the mentor-mentee thing for Amerimold 2021, maybe?
Okay.
I think it was last year. Yeah, last year the year before, one of the two, when it was virtual. Because we had COVID going on. But we did this whole thing where we documented the mentor-mentee thing, and you know, we still talk to this day. I haven't heard from him in a while, so now I have to give him a call if he doesn't call me right now and start yelling at me for something.
You know, it's such a good thing because I remember, again, one of the first times I met Ray. The first time I met Ray was at the AMBA the Amerimold. It was at Amerimold. Mm-hmm. And Tim Krieger was giving his speech on lead time leader. And I was talking with Ray about different stuff, and we were just joking around. He's like, you ought to come out to our race. We do a 5K. It's awesome. We're up this hill, blah, 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 blah. Like super Ray, right? And I was like,
energy. Yep.
And Krieger was just going on and on and on and on forever. It was a very long speech. And so I'm looking at Ray. I'm like, all right, so where should I fly into? And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, you told me I need to come to this race. Where should I fly into? And so like I booked the tickets. I did everything while Tim Krieger was giving his speech. And he's like, are you kidding me? Everybody says they're going to come. Nobody shows up. I was like, well, you told me to come out. I'm going to come out. And then we went out there, and the first time we actually sat and talked, again, it was doing a podcast with him. And it was really good. And, you know, everybody wonders if they're practicing what they're preaching or if it's just like smoke and mirrors to get the attention. And it's legit. It's real. Like if you haven't been there, you need to go and experience the Westminster way and what that actually looks like. And
spend one day with Ray.
Yeah.
Because some of the stories he has, oh my God, I can't even say them on air, but
no.
That guy is a gem. Love him to death.
And, you know, it bleeds into their family and into their workforce, too. So Hillary's the same way. Colby's the same way. Hannah's the same way. You know, Kim is way softer, but she's still got the directness. She's definitely the mama bear. But she's,
check.
Yeah, she keeps, And she'll do that with everybody. She'll keep everybody that she cares about in check. It's awesome. I can't speak enough about them. And they'll be at the PT Expo on March 29th and the 31st with Mantle. So that's exciting too. Yeah, the work they were doing with them is really cool. When he started telling me about that recently, I was, because I spent a lot of time, a few years in the injection making world. So I understand the tolerances. I understand how a mold functions for the most part, not down to a science. But when you can start doing the things that they're doing with, the 3D printing aspect of it, that's incredible. I would have never guessed that was even possible until these guys figured it out. So props to them. Yeah, it's awesome. So, aside from obviously their good culture, what I think they do really well is the training aspect of things and getting people from, one part to the next and that idea of understanding how everything works. How was it for you transitioning from hands on the floor to, being in the office, working on estimates, doing sales and everything that goes around that? Because I think that's a hurdle that some people have, right? They find themselves in a position where they love manufacturing. They love doing what they're doing. They love the industry, but maybe they don't want to do X anymore. You know, they don't want to leave the company, but they want to maybe transition into something else. How was that process for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a transition because you go from being on the floor, hands in, dirty, being having to build it yourself, think on the fly. Where now I'm trying to think about what happens before that project hits the floor,
Yeah.
right? And it was something I always kind of wanted to get into because I always said I never wanted to be the guy welding for 40 years. I believed in my heart that I had the intelligence to kind of do what I'm doing now, and it's been working out really well.
And just like Seinfeld, right? Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you're the guy that wants to weld for 40 years, awesome. It's just not what everybody wants to do.
Right. I mean, and to be honest, the guys that are doing it for 40 years, they're that good at it.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
I learned so much from people that had been welders for 20, 30 years and fabricators that are just extremely talented. I truly do believe that Koss Industrial as a company inside the food and beverage world has some of the most talented people from the top down. I mean, our engineering team, I can't believe some of the things they can come up with.
Right.
Because I'll go out to a customer site and walk through some process with them and be like, I think we could do this, but let me make sure we can do it. And I'll come back and they're just like, yeah, that's fine. We can figure that out. So my craziness plus their actual brains works out good.
It's a good combination sometimes.
Yeah. But back to your point about the transition, it was a big learning curve and adjustment. When you go from being on the floor to sitting behind a desk all day, you're like, oh God, this is weird. I still do get on the floor a lot, just check on projects, answer questions on how things need to be flowing through. Due to my nature, I can't just sit still and just estimate all day. So I have, continuous improvement. I do business development, sales, all over the board. Whatever we really need to do, I help out with because I have to be stimulated and challenged nonstop. So I still remember the first couple of weeks when I transitioned into doing the project manager and sales part of it. I was thinking to myself, what did I get myself into? Because this is a big difference from having to be on the floor nonstop, making parts work, building things, and having to figure things out on the fly. So it was a transition I wanted to make and I needed to make for my own sanity, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. So I'm glad I did it, and it's been fun.
So when you made that transition, was it, were you at the same company when you made that transition, or did you leave one company to go to the next company? So like, were you the floor guy at Extreme, and then from there you moved into more of a leadership office role, or did you go to a different company first?
I was when I was at Extreme, I was kind of in a leadership role. I was running the wire EDM department and running the welding department. And, my wife and I kind of wanted to move back to the Green Bay area just because we went from having, don't even start with that. Come on.
I can't help it. Listen,
I'm going to send you a cheese head after this. I'm going to buy one and send it to you.
Listen, we can have a bet. I mean, I've lost them enough with Jen Barlin from Falcon. Her and I have a bet every time the Bears play Green Bay, and I lose, and it's fine. She didn't collect last time, but I got a feeling you might. So we can have bets. It makes everything fun.
Yeah, we'll have to figure something out this coming year, especially since Rodgers is going to stay now. I'm comfortable making that bet.
He's going to stay, but he's costing the team so much money. He's going to be throwing to pylons.
Yeah.
He's a little bit selfish. I'm just going to say, when we talk about, my opinion, leadership and culture and all those things, I think he gets an F.
I won't disagree.
All right, there you go.
So we'll agree on that. We're not going to get into the emotional intelligence / leadership of Aaron Rodgers today, but I'm not going to disagree with you.
I mean, we could. It's always a fun conversation.
I don't know. What if we get on Rogan or something with this conversation? Then we're in trouble.
If anybody of that kind of capacity hears it, I'd be thrilled with being in trouble.
We should get on the Pat McAfee show.
All right, let's do it. I don't know how.
We might as well. I don't know either. We can just start tweeting at him or something. We'll figure it
out. Where were we? We were talking about how you wanted to move back to Green Bay.
Oh, so yeah, I want to move back to Green Bay. And before I left here, I was working at Koss Industrial, and I was doing The road installations, that's a big part of what we do is, the
Yep.
pipe fitting in the field, installing equipment, stuff like that. And when I was looking to move back, I reached out to my boss now and said, hey, I'm thinking this over. Can I use you as a reference for somebody in the area? And he was like, absolutely. But if you're wanting to move back, let's have a conversation.
That's awesome.
So long story short, I told him where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I've been very fortunate enough that they've allowed me to do exactly what I say I want to do.
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes on this company as a whole. So, they've pretty much given me the reins to do what I think is best for the company and, help with the culture development, because that's a big piece I took away from Extreme.
Yeah.
We got to go out and meet Ray, learn from his people, and do all that training. And after I left, I still continued to, I still read books nonstop. I'm always looking for seminars to listen to or go to. I mean, Ray and I will be texting back and forth about some stuff. He'll send me books. I send him books. That's part of just being a lifelong student with just learning new stuff.
Yeah. That idea of curiosity, right? And curiosity in all things, not just being limited to, the one area of your job, but, actually trying to step out and learn more stuff.
Yeah. I mean, the curiosity part, I always tell, not to pick on our engineers, but our engineers a lot, because, they came from school and they became engineers, where I've had in the plant, in the floor, actually welding things, building things, whatever. And then now I'm on their end of it, trying to help them, even though they help me a lot more. But I always tell them, be curious. When we give you a project or we sell a piece of equipment, if you aren't familiar with it, ask what it does. Why does it do what it does?
Right.
Because if you understand the purpose of it and why it's there and the crucial step it is in the process of making whatever the product is, you're going to be able to design it a lot better, which just helps the customer out and it makes it more profitable. So curiosity is huge. And when I came back to this company, I went basically from being in the plants on a hands-on basis to helping customers figure out where their problems are with process engineering, your pumps, your valves, your process flow of your equipment, how to make the product itself. And the biggest thing that I had to do was be curious and ask the questions. Hey, why do you guys do it this way? I bought a book from Tetra Pak. It's $100 book that just explains from the time that a cow starts the milk until you get cheese and whey and your whey protein.
It sounds fascinating.
It's a nerdy thing, right? So I like to nerd out with it, but
don't send me that book. You can send me a lot of books. Don't send me that book. I'm not going to read it.
Well, for me, I don't want to be in front of a customer or another person in the industry and sound stupid.
Yeah.
So I try to learn as much as I can always, and I'm always asking the owners and my boss, well, why? Why do we do it this way? Why can't we do it that way? And it might be a stupid question, but it always brings up another point. Like, okay, well, no one ever thought of it that way. Let's try it this way.
Right. I use that when I polished for a little while in high school. I can't do anything else here. I have no skill set when it comes to the applications and the jobs that we do here. Mm-hmm. And so when there's an issue, I'll meet with the team leaders and I go, all right, y'all know I don't know anything, right? Like I'm the guy that doesn't know what they're talking about.
And that's self-awareness.
Yeah. And I'll say, but I'm listening to you. I'm listening to the issues that you have. This could sound crazy. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. What if we tried this? And at first you could tell that people were like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. But now I've heard enough and I've talked to them enough times where sometimes I have an idea that they would never have thought of, and it's so outside the box that it's like, oh, well, wait, maybe that could work, or just taking a look at it from a perspective of, okay, we tried all the mold stuff. That's not working. We tried, this, and this. What if we did this, which is so far removed from what it might be? And they go, oh, we could probably test that way and figure something out. And so it's just that idea of being open to
another idea.
Yeah. And the more that I allow people to come in and just vent to me about what's going on, I'm learning and I'm taking stuff in, not from a manual, but from like actual problems that our guys are having. So, you know, if Mike is working on a tool that needs to be repaired or maintained, and he just comes in and he starts rambling and ranting about different stuff that's going on, that's just running through his brain, right? And it's just like a million miles an hour. It's like matrix code going through his brain. Yep. And I just sit there and listen a little bit, and I'll ask another question, and then he'll go some more, and then I'll ask a question. And before you know it, we came up with a solution together. I don't really have to know much. I just have to be able to listen and kind of like be a placeholder for his thought and give him the next little nugget, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And I always say, you know, same thing. We'll have a roundtable discussion of what's going on, and we're trying to figure things out. And, you know, I come from more of the just get it done, figure it out as you go style. Yeah. So I always just kind of do, all right, this is an idea. It's the cowboy way to do it, but what if we did this? And then it's either, well, what do we got to lose? Or let's try something, you know, a spin-off of that. So there's nothing wrong with not knowing, right? But if you have an idea that might be stupid, well, guess what? You might come up with a better idea just from sparking it. And that's the point of having a good team around you. So when you start those discussions, people aren't just like, oh, no, you're stupid, sit down. It's, no, let's actually keep going on this. And that's what we do a lot here. And usually it is me being the one that's throwing the cowboy ideas out, because that's just kind of how I roll. But that's part of having a good team.
And I think it takes that a little bit, right? You can have some people that are so ingrained into the way it's always been done that they can lose a little bit of that curiosity. They don't think, well, maybe we can do this, because they're used to, like, we do it this. This is what we do. This is our box. This is who we are. But then a wild card comes in, and you're like, well, why can't we do that? Well, I mean, we're already making, you know, for you guys, right? We're already making cheese machines, right? Why is that so different than making this? You know, it's just another process.
And there's a lot of crossover with equipment, you know. There's a million plants out there, and everybody thinks they do it completely different than the next one. Well, that's not the case.
No.
You all do it pretty similar for the most part. You just have a little bit different idea on how the flow should be versus how it needs to be sometimes. So there's no one way to do everything, right? So that's a big hurdle that we have to figure out.
Yeah.
And, you know, back to your point of everyone's stuck in their ways. I mean, you've probably taken DISC, right? DISC assessment.
Yep.
Okay. Love that.
How do you fall how do you fall in the DISC assessment?
I'm a DI heavy.
Yeah, me too.
When I met Ray and we were doing this, he's like, I can't say exactly how he said it, but he's like, I guarantee you're a D. I guarantee you're a D. And I was like, yeah, well, we'll find out. I got my results back. He goes, I told you were.
We had we had a very similar conversation.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, speaking of Kim keeping everybody grounded, me, him, and Colby were at, I don't know where we were, but we just got rolling, and we're rolling. And then Kim had to kind of rein us back in and tell us, hey, you guys are just getting ridiculous. Stop.
Well, it was funny because my wife and I, Kelly and I, went out and we stayed with the Coombs. And she was telling them how I don't plan things very well. I'm not a good planner. And she was like, where are we staying? And she's like, he just kept saying, we're staying in Connecticut. Like, we're either going to stay here or we're going to stay there. And Ray looks at her and he's like, don't you know your husband at all? He's not a planner. He doesn't care about details. That's not in his thing. He doesn't care. Details. He doesn't care. And I was like, see, Ray knows me. Why don't you know me?
So is your wife a C then?
Yeah, she's
CS?
Yes.
Yeah, I pretty much married the same thing.
She's very steady, very just she likes structure. She likes to plan. She's gotten way better about the planning thing, but you know, I'm wearing off on her. She's wearing off on me a little bit. I let her handle the planning and then just tell me where I need to be.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, the DISC for, like you said, people are stuck in their ways. A big part of that is knowing when you have to to flex to your weaknesses, right?
Right.
So for me, a big part of my coming into this role was I have to flex to being more detailed and supportive by, teaching people and educating people, because that does come naturally to me for leading people and teaching, because both my parents were teachers, and I always got the lectures on how to deal with people, and my dad was a superintendent of the school, so I always had to have firsthand lectures on how to deal with bad people and how to deal
Sure.
with angry people. So a lot of those lessons were invaluable. And my mom was the same way. She had to deal with kids and me. So
Yeah.
I actually took a class my freshman year of high school for Spanish, a Spanish teacher. I sat down and she started talking on the first day. And after about 15 minutes, I raised my hand and she's like, "What do you want?" And I was like, "I gotta go to the principal's office. I got transfer out of this." And all she said was, "Good idea." So she knew.
Oh gosh, yeah, I think we're very similar. Yeah. So my friend Ben, we run the Awana program together at our church, and he's reading a book right now, and I'm gonna start reading it because it's a book that I think I can get behind. I'm trying to find it right now. Hold on one second. I know this is very exciting, and it fits my mentality for planning, and it's called, oh man, sorry, this is a terrible segue here.
No, you're good.
I'll find it some other time.
Send me what it is.
So the gist of the book is that if you spend all your time planning, you don't leave any room for God to put new things in your life. You don't utilize the things that God is actually putting in your life at this moment. So you're planning all these things on your own. This is what he told me about the first 2 chapters. He hasn't finished the book yet. So you're spending all this time planning. And in order for your plan to go according to plan, everything has to fall in line just perfectly. And you don't know what's going to pop up tomorrow that could help you when you need it. And so I believe it's around the idea of kind of like rolling with it, right? Just go with the flow a little bit and not be so stuck in we have to do it like this.
Right. No, it's a great concept. I think it's absolutely accurate.
So as far as manufacturing, what other hurdles are you finding besides people?
People and space. We're actually pretty maxed out on floor space right now. So we're looking at doing some reorganizing pallet racking for our inventory for parts, because we carry a lot of spare parts for equipment that we build, pumps and valves, plate heat exchangers, stuff like that. So we have to keep a lot of that in house, and just trying to find space, right? And I've been saying for the last 6 months to a year that if we could just carbon copy our building and put it next door and add the same people, I could fill it up with equipment in 3 to 5 months. That's just how crazy the industry is right now. But yeah, mainly it's just people. The work is there. Even our competitors are having the same issues, and we're all trying to work together and see where we can help each other. Supply chains is another huge one. I just saw the thing on the bottom of the screen. We're looking at 6 months sometimes for components. I ordered something from, I think it was overseas in England somewhere for a project that before everything went crazy, it was like a 12-week lead time. It ended up being 50 weeks just about. So it was like almost a complete year until we got that product in. And it's been tough. I mean, I know you guys you build a lot of your own equipment and stuff like that. So that's helpful. But how has it been for you guys with supply chain? Everyone's got people issues.
Yeah, the people issues is just an ongoing thing, and that's going to come down to training, finding a way to train and do that internally. As far as supply chain, on the service side of our business, it hasn't been that bad because we don't need a lot of supplies. We make all our own diamond paste. We can get laser wire. When we're doing hot runner repair and things like that, there's times where we can't get heaters as quickly as we'd like to, or different components there that the manufacturer is having a hard time getting. So that's been a little bit of an issue, but it's nice because everybody has that. So you can kind of get a little bit of flex. On the machine build side of things, we're noticing a couple things. We're noticing back orders, obviously, but the inflation of all the service, the things that we're outsourcing, right? That price is going up. The steel is going up.
Stainless is ridiculous right now.
Everything is going up in cost, and the downside is, customers don't want you to pass that cost on to them.
Exactly.
And they have everybody's going through the same thing, so we should all be a little bit understanding. And it's hard when it's not. People are like, why does this cost more now? Well, because it costs more now. Like,
have you looked at the news lately?
Yeah,
read anything on supply chain?
Unfortunately, for the longest time, we had free pickup and delivery for jobs. We thought, it's the least that we can do. You're giving us a chance. But, we have 5 vehicles probably on the road every day, driving all over Illinois and Wisconsin and Indiana and, wherever we need to go. And gas is, we'll say average, $5 a gallon, right around there. So our costs to do work has doubled and in some cases tripled. And, what do you do,
Right. Did you get your Rivian yet? I saw you were trying to hit that guy up for fleet of vehicles.
I didn't get a Rivian yet, but I'm supposed to go out to Rivian at some point and see their facility and see how we can possibly help out in some capacity with welding and things like that. That would be awesome. I think, when Tesla announced it like 2 years ago, right? The truck, when they did the big announcement day and everything. I put a hold on a Tesla truck. It was $100. It's, supposed to be refundable. I figured it's $100. If this truck is half of what they say it is, this could totally change the way that we do pickups and deliveries and eliminate a huge amount of cost. So for me, it was worth it. If Rivian, Tesla, trucks, whatever. One of the guys was like, we should get a Tesla van. I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. Like, we're spending so much money in gas, let's do it.
Yeah, I know my uncle actually has a Rivian truck on order. So, and he was pretty excited about that out in Utah. So we'll see if he actually got that or not. I'll have to text him after this and just see what's going on with that. But no, they're very cool. You should get a whole fleet of them.
I would love to get a fleet of them.
The least they could do, Doug could get you a Tesla or something, you would think, right?
He doesn't have any pull with that. It's, they're just not out. I don't need the car. I just, when you look at the credit card statements of like gas and, we were delivering a machine out in North Carolina. And it's a new van. It's a Dodge van. It's a Sprinter van. It's maybe a year and a half, 2 years old. But we put so many miles on them, the transmission blew in Virginia, and you're dead. You're stuck. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
So now the van is being fixed in Virginia for more than it would cost here because they get you right. They know that you're not going to tow it back, so we can charge you whatever we want. And so now we're going to have to fly to Virginia, get the van, drive back. I would love a fleet of electric vehicles, and not because I'm worried about global warming, because I don't want to pay for it anymore.
No, I totally get it. I don't blame you. I'll have wow. The laser welder salesman. Yeah, that was a bad one. Yeah, edit that out maybe afterwards, right?
No,
it's live.
Listen, it is what it is. Nobody's watching anyways. That's fine. Nobody listens to this. It's just a way for us to talk. How have laser sales been? Laser sales have been really, really good, actually. We've sent out more quotes at this point in the year than we ever have. Our numbers are up. We've got new machines coming out. We're delivering one today that's built on a KUKA base. It's a 1.5 kilowatt robot laser welder. It's awesome. And that is beyond what we started with, right? We built the ID1 and we were selling that stuff for tool repair, mold repair. And this robot has allowed us to get more into the larger production style welding, similar to the stuff that you guys are doing. And it's fantastic. I mean, it's changing the way that people are welding parts. It's minimizing cost. It's eliminating a lot of cleanup. It's increasing efficiency. And the robot never calls in sick.
No, it doesn't. It does not. Yeah. You have a lot of issues with that too?
I mean, I think if you have team members working for you, you're going to have people calling in sick. It's the way it is. And especially now, after COVID, you know, we told people, listen, if you don't feel good, stay home. Don't come to work sick. You know, that was always kind of like a rule. Like if you have the flu, if you have stomach flu, if you look like a zombie, please don't come to work and give that to everybody else. Stay home. Like you have PTO. I know it's not vacation, but please stay home so you don't make everybody else sick. Just, you know, it's a day. Do that for everybody. That's what you should do.
Yeah, and that's definitely one good thing that came out of all this was a little bit more understanding that people need to stay home when they're sick and not be the warrior going to work coughing on everybody.
Yeah, just don't. You know, it's like, you know, and still we'll have people call and they're like, you know, I have a little bit of a cough. Do I need to go get tested? And I'm like, listen, are you sick? If you're sick, stay home. That's all you have to tell me is I'm sick. Like, I don't, like I said, I don't care if you have the stomach flu. I don't want you to come here and throw up. I don't want, listen, I don't want any of that. I don't want chicken pox. I don't want, you know, scabies. I don't want anything. Just if you're sick, stay home. Just be smart about it. Richard Evans, my good friend Richard Evans at RPS. Thank you for the cup. Again, I use it every podcast. I love you for it. He went out to dinner with John and Cody, and he was like, yeah, the van story made for great dinner conversation. Yeah.
Glad someone got some amusement out of it.
Yeah, I'm glad it made you smile. It was
for sure.
But yeah, I think what's been interesting is sales, and I think you've seen this too. Sales are going up. You're busy. We're busy. And the fascinating thing about it is all of that's happening without trade shows, right? Like trade shows were dead for 2 years. That was the only way to go out and see people was trade shows or magazine advertising, traditional marketing, things like that. And now everybody that I talk to is really, really busy, and they're not doing that traditional style of marketing their business. I'm really hopeful that PT Expo is going to be awesome. I mean, I'm standing behind it. We're going to be there. We're happy to be there. We're going all in with it. You know, it's I think Wednesday morning at 9:00 we're doing an interview with Christina Fuges from the floor. Yeah. So that'll be great. But you know, it's this whole new world where, you know, just word of mouth is working, and you know, salespeople are trying to find new ways to do things. Whether that's social media, whether that's you know more phone calls, whether that's Zoom calls or team meetings or whatever that is, it's a whole new animal out there.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a different era. You know, you have to adapt to what's going on, and when you couldn't go meet people face to face at trade shows or go in the plants or go to customer sites, you know, you had to facilitate it somewhere, right? So, I mean, I know the trend has been Zoom calls or Teams calls or whatever to at least get the project, you know, 3/4 of the way kicked off. And if it requires an in-person meeting to you know, close a deal and finalize details, that's great. You know, in our industry, especially once everything kind of slowed down with the whole COVID thing at first, nobody was allowed inside plants. So it was all strictly phone, email, which is fine too. But, you know, it's hard to explain somebody the flow of equipment to make something you eat every day by a phone conversation if you don't truly know exactly what they have. So that was a big hurdle for us.
And with what you're making, you have to go there, right? You have to go there and see what their current process is so that you can develop a better process, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
It's almost impossible for somebody to explain over the phone to you how they make cheese. You have to see it. Okay, so this is your current process. This is how you're doing it. We think that we can streamline some things or make some more efficiencies, or if we change this, we could do that. That's the beauty of being able to be in person, and it helps to build trust. I mean, a phone call conversation is a phone call conversation. It's fine, but it's not the same thing as being in person with somebody.
Oh, right. It's a huge relationship builder too. You know, like you said, the phone calls and emails are fine, but you don't get the personal connection when you're actually talking to somebody face to face in person, and you can see their emotions on their face, and you know that's a big part of social awareness, right?
Yeah.
If you have no idea, then you take everything completely out of context on an email, and you think that the person's mad at you for whatever, for not providing the right solution or something. I don't know, but
And
no,
you say that just at the right time.
Why? What did I say?
Because Hillary Thomas, formerly Coombs, has just joined us on LinkedIn, and you know when you're talking about reading emails properly and having the emotional intelligence and all that stuff, you know, again, it comes back to the stuff that you and I both learned at Westminster.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I took away so many different things from them, and just meeting the Coombs family and the whole team at Westminster. It's great. I really learned social awareness, emotional intelligence. Self awareness is a huge one too. There's a book by, I can't think of the guy's name, but it's Search Inside Yourself. It's the guy that used to work at Google. That's a great book that I think everybody should read. It's basically all about self-reflecting and understanding why you do what you do sometimes, and to understand that you are human. You're going to fail. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to yell at somebody. And sometimes you might be the asshole. But that's just kind of the way it works, right?
Yeah, so, amen. Sometimes you need to be.
Yeah,
unfortunately. It's not even sometimes you're going to be. Sometimes you need to be.
Yeah, and that's part of evolution, right? Sometimes you have to get down to that level or go up to that level wherever you want to look at to get the point across, but then you need to figure out how to get back down and meet the middle somewhere going forward, because it's not scalable to be a jerk all the time, right? You get the work done in that time period, but the next time you go and ask for a favor or to get something done faster or whatever it may be, they're not going to be as susceptible to actually get it done for you or help you out.
Yeah. Let's see. How does this work? Can I do this? Let's see. Show. Oh, yeah. Here's a message from Hillary. Miss you both. And yes, Ty, Search Inside Yourself is huge for being successful, both in business, but in your personal life, too.
Awesome. Congratulations on the child, Hillary, as well.
Oh, my gosh. Have you seen the picture of the baby? It's adorable.
No, I haven't talked to anybody for a while, so I'll have to. Hillary, tell your dad to call me. It's been too long. We should get him on a podcast.
Listen, I've done a couple with him. One of my favorite things, I'll have to find this, and I can't send it to you because it's one of those things that's like, this is like, they have the B sides. This is like the DEF side. Christina and I did a podcast dedicated to Ray. And it is full of all the Rayisms that you could possibly think. It was magical. Yeah.
Yes, the one that's not suited for air.
Oh, it is not suited for air.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yes. But it's fun. I mean, it's fun. So we are coming up to our time limit here. We always end the show. So when Hillary and I first started doing the chat and chow, we were calling them chat and chows. One of the things we always talked about was making sure that the show was focused on positivity and not focusing on negatives, but always finding encouraging things and positivity. And not approved for air. That is absolutely 100%. Correct, hell. And so one of the things that we do is we pray at the end, and we pray for a lot of reasons. For me, it's because I know that myself, I'm not good enough to do this, and I need all the help I can get. I would rather have that help from the creator that made it all. And so if you are listening and you have any prayer requests, go ahead and put those in the chat, and we'll definitely include them. Brad Peters says, great discussion. Thank you, Brad, for your feedback, and thanks for listening to the show. Yeah. Not approved for air, definitely. I mean, the prayers are, but not.
Yeah, but no, we really should do a Ray Coombs podcast again, and I want to be a part of it.
I would love
we
to.
We don't even have to air it. We gotta set up a meeting because I want to hear his craziness again. It's been too long.
Yeah,
and we can have that one archived.
I know that the Coombs family, a lot of the Coombs family, will be at the PT Expo also. I don't know if Ray's going to make it there. I think he's turning his family loose, and he's going to stay home back at the mothership, because I don't think they're winning anything at this. So
he's only there for the awards, I guess.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what brings him out and what keeps him at home. So there's that.
Yeah. No, I wish I could make that one. We'll be in Milwaukee second week of April for Cheese Expo. So if you want to stop down for that, let me know.
Cheese Expo.
You should actually come to that.
All right, wait a minute. When is this? When is the Cheese Expo?
April 13th and 14th.
Okay,
we're gonna have a cheese grinder there that you can drop a whole 500-pound barrel of cheese in, like a legit 500-pound barrel of cheese into a grinder, and it grinds it up in about 30 seconds.
Okay, so that's
where your processed cheese starts.
My daughter's favorite thing in the world is cheese. And so are they going to have like cheese samples there?
Yeah.
All right.
There's cheese everywhere. There's cheese making equipment. It's basically a big dairy thing, but for sure, stop on down. We'll have a booth. I'll be there for 2-3 days. So I'll shoot you the info after this.
Yes, send me the information, because I never thought I would say this, but apparently I want to go to a cheese expo. This is going to be...
You should.
Didn't even know it was a thing.
It sounds interesting, but it's a cool time. There's a lot of great people. It's like the plastic show. You get to see everybody again for that year and catch up and, talk a little bit of business, but mainly just catch up. That's part of that relationship building.
Nothing too cheesy there. It's going to be great.
On that note, if you're going to start doing dad puns, we're done.
That's my son and I, we go back and forth. It's one of our favorite things to do. It makes my daughter so mad, but somebody will say something. We just keep going back and forth, like table tennis with each other. It's so much fun. She gets so angry with us. It's great. It's one of my favorite things. All right, Ty, you got anything else or any prayer requests for us?
Nope. I'll let you take that.
All right, so let's pray and get out of here with the rest of our day. Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to talk with Ty. Thank you for the technology that you've given us to be able to reach so many people. And we just pray that we were able to make somebody smile today, that we were able to give them a little bit of information, and that maybe we can make their day just a little bit brighter. And we just pray that you would be with us, all the people that are listening and the people we know and love, that you would keep us safe, that you would allow us to get through this pandemic and everything that's going on, that you would be with all the people of Ukraine and the people of Russia, because it's not their decision with what's going on. And we just pray for understanding and wisdom and discernment and the rest of our day, and we give it all to you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Ty, thank you, my friend. It was good catching up with you. I am definitely going to come to Cheese Fest. It's official. I can't wait for Cheese Fest. My daughter does not like going all the way up to Wisconsin with me, but I think she's going to make an exception if we're going to Cheese Fest.
Yeah, absolutely. Stop on by, and it was great to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're going to post all your contact information on the show notes on our Alliance page. And so if anybody needs to get a hold of you to talk about, what you guys are doing over at Koss, they will have a way to be able to do that. And, I highly recommend that company. They do awesome things. And they're killing it. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't be busy. So, thank you for coming on and give me an hour of your day.
Absolutely. Thanks for helping me out the other week with that welding, eh?
Yeah, you got it. Anytime we can help, just let us know.
All right. Sounds good, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. It was great catching up with Ty again. Haven't seen him in a little while, but it's one of those things where if you build solid relationships, you don't need much time to reconnect. You can just pick right up with people. For Alliance, our core values are gratitude, relationships, integrity, and tenacity. And we believe that if everything we do with those 4 things in mind, we're going to be able to make a difference. And if we can make a difference, that's all we can ask for. So on behalf of myself, on behalf of Alliance, and everybody else that was part of this conversation, including Ty and Koss, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care, and God bless.